Welcome to Sakshi TV's special immigration talk show with attorney Ms. Prashanthi Reddy. I am Preeti Mulbagal, your host for the show. Ms. Prashanthi Reddy is an accomplished attorney with an experience of over 17 years. Ms. Reddy was admitted to the bar in New York and is a member of the American Immigration Lawyers. She is listed in the Forbes magazine as one of the best immigration lawyers in New York. She was voted as a super lawyer and is listed in the marquee of Who's Who of 2024-25. She is also recognized by the American Institute of Legal Counsel as one of the 10 best immigration attorneys in New York. She is currently involved in pro bono legal work and volunteers for women's organizations such as Manavi and Sakhi, conducting weekly webinars and seminars. So we have Ms. Prashanthi Reddy with us. Welcome, Ms. Prashanthi. And as we know, today's topic we have is H-1B cap case. So please give us some introduction on what is H-1B cap case.
Yes, so a lot has been happening with reference to immigration law. Every day we have new updates. The administration, has some bombshell or the other that they throw on us. So, but it is also business as usual. This is the H-1B cap season. H-1 cap cases are new H-1 cases which have been selected in the lottery and are subject to the annual caps. The annual cap for the H-1B is 60,000 for bachelor's degree and an additional 65,000 plus an additional 20,000 for master's degree holders. So there's a total of 85,000 H-1s that are released every year. And so that's the cap, meaning that you cannot file more than 85,000 H-1s, new H-1s per year. So in order to decide who gets to file a H-1, initially it used to be first come, first serve, and that was a mess because thousands of applications would be received by, FedEx and UPS in a single day. And then they'd have to try and figure out, which ones to accept. Instead, they did a lottery system whereby only if you're selected in the random lottery, you'll be able to file your H-1, your new H-1 this year. So that's called the H-1B cap. The lottery already took place in March. The results were announced end of March, and the new H-1, your new H-1 cap case can be filed anytime from April to June 30th. So you have 90 days to file the H-1B cap case, and it has been, as I said, business as usual this year as well, even though there's been a lot of other issues that have come up, but I decided that let's do something on H-1 because that's kind of the need of the hour. A lot of employers and employees will be getting ready to file their cap cases if they haven't already filed them. And so I think it would be a good idea to talk about, how to file, what to keep in mind, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes, so yeah, please do throw some light on how do we apply for this H-1B cap.
Well, it's the procedure is the same as how you would apply for a regular H-1, a transfer or an extension. As I said, it's just the lottery system that is the additional step. If you get picked in the lottery, then you get an approval of a lottery approval, and using that, you send your H-1B petition to the address mentioned in your notice, in your approval notice. And you pay the fee, whatever the regular fee is, and you submit. You start off by filing for a labor condition application, which is an LCA. That is filed with the Labor Department. It takes about 5 to 7 days to get approved. And once that is approved, you attach that to your H-1B petition. The H-1B petition comprises of, the I-129 forms. And then you have to submit, of course, your check for the USCIS fee and other supporting documentation, beneficiary documents, petitioner documents, beneficiary documents to show that they're in status if they are already in the US. Maybe they're on a B2 status, maybe they're on an F1 status. And if they're outside the country, then you just need a passport and their degree copies. Degree copies are needed regardless. If they have foreign degrees, then you'll need to get the degree evaluated. In addition to that, you'll have to submit petitioner documents, that is documents from the company, showing that they have sufficient work, specialty occupation level work. So if you are, for example, a consulting company, then you would have to show which client you're placing the beneficiary at. Then you would have to show a client letter, maybe vendor letter, purchase order, MFA, whatever it is, you have to show that there is sufficient work. If you are a regular company and the person is working in your office, then you'd have to show volume of business. I guess, contracts, if you have any contracts with clients, if you service any outside parties, then you'll have to show contracts, maybe tax returns, brochures, etc., to show availability of work for the person that you're hiring. And of course, there is also a petitioner letter where you describe the work that is going to be done by the beneficiary, the nature of business of the company, and that makes it easier for USCIS to determine whether the job is a specialty occupation or not. So this is all this package is submitted to USCIS. It can be submitted in two ways. You can send it either by mail, by courier or regular mail, or you can submit it online. You can file the petition online by filling the forms online, submitting the fee by ACH or credit card, and uploading all the documents online. So there are two ways that you can do this.
Okay. So that's quite a list of documents that we need to get ready before we apply. So
Right.
thank you for the wonderful information, Prashanthi. Got
You're
it.
welcome.
So for now, what are the exemptions to this H-1B cap?
Yeah, you're not subject to the cap, meaning that you can file for your H1 even if uh, there are no numbers available, even if the numbers are all used up, because I said there's 85,000 numbers, and to get to get selected, you need to go through a lottery and you need to win the lottery. But you don't have to go through the lottery process at all, and you can file at any point of time, even after the numbers are over. If you are previously on a H1, then of course you're cap exempt. Any given point of time, if you were on a H1, even if you're not on a H1 now, you're cap exempt. Also, if you're working for a cap exempt employer, so a cap exempt employer is an employer who is a nonprofit research organization or a government research organization or is an institution of higher education. So if you're working for either of these companies, either directly or you're working through a consulting company and they are your end client, even then, that you will be cap exempt. So you don't need to worry about the lottery system, and you can file your H1 anytime during the year.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. So they can heave a sigh of relief if they already have had previously H1. Okay,
Correct.
and
Yeah.
non-profit and government organizations. That's awesome. Okay,
Right.
so we see that there is something called cap subject and cap exempt. So could you let us know what the difference is between them?
So as I was just saying, cap exempt organizations, they can file their H1s anytime. They don't have to be selected in the lottery. Cap subject is everybody else. All other companies are cap subject. Cap exempt are only those companies which are non-profit research organizations, government
Okay.
research organizations, or institution of higher educations, or organizations that are associated with institutions of higher education, such as hospitals, teaching hospitals. They usually have a contract with universities, and they, bring in some students and train them. It could be nursing students, it could be medical students. For example, Cornell Hospital has a tie-up with Cornell University, Cornell, college. So these are the organizations that are cap exempt because they don't have to worry about filing a lottery and getting selected to,
Within that
file,
time frame.
right, file for a H1.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that makes it clear. The difference is very clear now. So, and can a person on H1 file multiple registrations through different employers?
Yeah, so registrations, yes. So a beneficiary, there's no constraint on a beneficiary to file multiple registrations through different employers, as long as the employers are not um, somehow related to each other and they are filing the multiple registration, in order to circumvent the cap and to increase the chances of the beneficiary in getting in the cap. For example, if one person has three companies and they file for the beneficiary in all three companies because they want to increase the chances of getting in the cap, that's not allowed. But if the job offer is separate, for example, for company, even though it's one owner, company A, B, and C, owned by Rajesh, say the job offered with company A is through Amazon, is the end client, company B, Alexa is the end client, company C, Apple is the end client. So the uh, employment, the job offer is pretty much different in each case, and it's a different, in addition to being a different employer. So that is allowed, as long as you're showing that the employment is different.
Okay, so basically, even if it is the same employer but a different client, that works.
Correct.
Okay, okay. And is there any specific number for each employer that they can apply only for these many H1s in a given
No,
period of time?
no, there's no cap. There is no limitation on how many H1s a company can apply. They can register for any number. And then they have to apply for the cases that got picked. But we do see that the larger the amount, the more number of registrations, the less the chance corresponding pick rate always. So if you file 5 cases, you're likely to have, like, for example, a 40% pick rate. But maybe if you file 100 cases, the pick rate might just be 30% or 25%. We've noticed that maybe they have some algorithm that they use to do that. But even though they say that the picks are random, I think they do have some algorithm whereby the more cases you file, just so that, one company doesn't monopolize the entire H1s.
Okay, that is interesting. That point is interesting. I know, like, having some algorithm, and yet after all these years, we not being clear on what the reason could be for this
Yeah,
difference in the percentage of pick rate.
correct, correct. So there's a lot of information that we don't know, and with reference to how USCIS processes or does the registrations, is it really random or are they following some guidelines? We don't know. Because they haven't been very open about it. So yeah, we are hoping that it is random, but we do think that there's some kind of algorithms that they use just so that one company doesn't monopolize all the numbers.
True, true. Yeah, based on the size of the company, they could file many, and then, and some small companies might just file for a very few. So yeah,
Yeah.
that definitely
I mean,
makes
if
sense.
you look at Wipro or any of these companies, right? TCS, um, they file thousands of registrations. They file thousands of H1s also, at least hundreds. So and also the other big companies as well, I'm sure. So the big companies, I think, take up most of the cap cases, uh, even though that algorithm exists. So that's still the case.
Okay, okay. So, can I change the employers if I am selected under the cap?
If you're selected under the cap, then you have to file your H1 with the company that filed for your cap, for your registration. After you file, and if it gets approved and you start working for that company, then of course you can file a transfer. But you cannot get the registration approved through company A and then try to file the H1 through company B.
Ah, okay, okay. All right. Yeah, that makes sense. So, for all the viewers out there, so if you are trying to apply under H-1B cap, make sure you do the registration and apply your H-1 from the same company. Okay,
Correct.
there is no jumping between companies.
Correct. The only way you can jump is if you as I said, after it gets approved, you start working for that company. Then of course you can. Nobody's
Transfer
forcing you
is one
to,
thing.
forcing you to stay for the same with the same company. You can transfer.
Right.
But the registration, a lot of people think is based on beneficiary, but actually, it's not. It is employer based. So that's why we have that issue.
Okay, okay. And what is the USCIS fees for H-1B cap registration?
The registration fee is 210, I believe, or 215. I don't remember now. I know it's only been a month, but they increased it um 20-fold. Uh,
Wow.
200-fold. Sorry, they increased it 200-fold from last year because last year it was only $10. I think this time it's $210 if I'm not mistaken, or 215. Um, and this was done so that they can discourage people who are not serious from filing registrations. And we have seen some drop in the registration numbers because earlier people were just filing registrations, randomly because the fee was so low. So they were able to easily file registrations. And then they were not even using those registrations to file the H1s. A lot of people were scamsters were taking money from, is what I heard, taking money from people and filing registrations by paying just the $10. And then after that, not really filing the H1, but they would have already taken the money from, the particular person. And so there were a lot of, scamsters out there. And I guess USCIS was trying to avoid that.
Okay, okay. Yeah, now they will see only the serious cases, more serious
Correct,
cases now.
correct, yeah.
Right. Okay. And what is the difference between the regular cap and the advanced degree cap?
So as I was saying, the $215 registration is for either one, a master's cap or the regular cap. The master's cap has 20,000 numbers, and the regular cap has 65,000. So if you're a master's degree, if you have a US master's degree from a public or a nonprofit university, then you go through the master's cap. And then if you don't get picked there, then they put you through the regular cap. So you get two chances of getting picked. There are two lotteries basically for you if you're a master's degree, US master's degree holder. If you're a bachelor's degree, if you have a bachelor's degree and not a US master's degree, then you only get one chance. You've been put into the lottery for the 65,000, the regular cap. So that's the difference between master's cap and regular cap.
Okay, okay. Oh, yeah, that is clear. And will the students be able to travel while the H-1B petition is pending?
If you're filing a change of status from a F1 to a H1, you should not travel. Because if you
Okay.
travel before your H1 gets approved, then your change of status portion of the application will get denied. Your H1 will get approved, but that change of status portion will get denied, which means that the H1 will be approved without an I-94 at the bottom. And you'll have to then leave the country and come back in to get that I-94 and to be able to start working on a H1. But
Okay, that's interesting.
if your H1 is already approved, say you have a H1 start date of October 1st, because it has to be October 1st or later, right? But your H1 gets approved in May. It's already approved. Then you can travel after the approval. And as long as you're coming back before the start date of the H1, you can come back on your F1 status. So that's when you can travel. But while it's pending, you cannot travel.
Okay,
And if you're
okay.
coming back, um, if it's approved for a change of status and then you leave, then you have to come back on a H1.
Okay,
You
that
cannot
is
come
going
back
to
on
be a hassle. Rather they stay in country
right.
until it is complete.
While it is pending, yeah, they should stay in the country. And if they
Okay.
need to travel, file premium processing so that you can get a decision quickly, and then you can travel.
Okay, could you throw some light on the premium processing part? Is there a premium processing available for H-1B cap cases as well?
Yes, there is, and that keeps changing every year. But from the last few years, 3 or 4 years at least, we are seeing that USCIS is accepting premium processing for H1 cap cases. Obviously, USCIS has increased their, especially under the previous administration, they've increased their capacity. Now they're online filing, so they're increased their technology. They've made it faster, improved it, made it more efficient, the system. So they're able to accept more premium processing cases. Because remember, if you do premium processing, that means they have to respond within 30 days. But they obviously have the bandwidth to do that, so they're accepting premium processing even for those thousands of cap cases as well. And they've been doing that for the past few years. So even this year, they continue to do that. And yes, premium processing is available for cap cases.
Okay. Okay. So, what is it like? Can we just go over the timeline difference between regular normal processing and premium processing?
Well, normally, normal processing can take anywhere from 3 to 6 months. If there's an RFE, it can get stuck and sometimes can take longer. Premium processing, they're supposed to respond within 30 days. And if they don't respond within 30 days for some reason, they're supposed to refund the premium processing fee. And then they'll just process it as a regular case. Even though they say 30 days, I've noticed usually they respond we get an approval or an RFE or whatever response it is. We get it within a week or 10 days. So their processing time is actually much faster than 30 days, but they say it's 30 days. They give themselves 30 days.
Processing. But is there any requirement, as in only certain cases can apply for premium processing?
No, any case can be premium processed. Any H-1B case. Even there are other cases also that can be premium processed. I-140s can be premium processed. F1s can be premium processed. So there
Okay.
is a list of cases that can be premium processed, and all H1s are included in that list.
Okay. And is there a difference in the amount of a fee for regular processing and premium processing?
Yeah, premium processing, there's an additional fee of 2,085, which you have to pay. So that's pretty steep. That's almost equivalent to
Very
the total fee of
green
the
card.
registry. It's almost double. Yeah, it's almost double the H-1B fee.
Right, right. So only the very serious cases would only go for the premium processing.
Actually, a lot of people go for premium processing because for
Oh.
various reasons. For various reasons, because they are falling out of status, they don't want to wait until the last minute. They want to see because employers are paying for it most of the time. Sometimes even a beneficiary, by the way, can pay for premium processing, and they opt to do it. For various reasons, a lot of people do opt for premium processing.
Okay, okay. Yeah. Rather than being out of status, better shell out some money and get it done.
Yeah, or at least being in suspense. I mean, for cap cases, I understand if they don't do premium processing because anyway, the person cannot come until after October. So, I mean, if you're filing in April, you might as well do just regular processing. But if you are, for example, doing a change of status from an F1 to a H1, you want to be, you don't want that anxiety of knowing whether your H1 will get approved or not. You want to be able to make plans ahead of time. And if you are on F1 or B2 or some other status, you want to be able to have enough time to uh, take further steps like change status, extend status, in case your H1 doesn't get approved and you want to know that in advance, so instead of knowing it in the last minute. So that's another reason why I guess people would also want to do premium processing. Or if you're filing it closer to October, then employers just want their employees to come quickly and they don't want to wait another 6 months. So they do premium processing so that they can, go faster to the consulate and get their visas and come back in. Or, even filing a change of status, they could do it. If they're doing it towards the end, then they might want them to do it quickly so that they can change to a H1 quickly.
Okay, okay. So another question I have is, will the person be able to work before the H-1B petition is approved?
In the case of a H1 cap petition, they cannot work because this is you're either doing cap petition, you're either doing it as change of status from some other status to H1, Or it could be that the person is outside the country and you're doing it as consular processing. In either scenario, you cannot work while the H-1B is pending. The only scenario in which you can work while your H-1 is pending is in the case of an extension. And in the case of a transfer, once the petition is received by USCIS, you can start working when you have that.
Okay.
But if you're on OPT or CPT, you can continue working on OPT or CPT for that employer until your H-1 gets approved. And then you move, when your H-1 gets approved, then you do a new I-9 application, verify the documents, and then, move to a H-1. That's how it's usually done.
Okay, yeah. That's quite a lot of information, useful and very effective, wonderful information that we've received from you, Ms. Prashanthi. This definitely is going to help our viewers. But I have one last question. So what happens if I'm selected in the H-1B lottery, but the petition is denied?
Yeah, if you're selected in the lottery and you file your H-1B petition and it gets denied, you can refile it depending on when it gets denied. And depends on why it gets denied. So if it's denied for some reason which you can correct, and if it's denied before the 90-day period within which you have to file your CAP petition, so before June 30th, then you can correct your mistake and you can refile it. But if it gets denied after June 30th, then you obviously have a problem because then your window to file is closed.
Okay. Definitely. Thank you so much, Miss Prashanthi, for your wonderful insights and your suggestions. And viewers, definitely, I am sure this is going to be very, very helpful for you guys in terms of your H-1B cap processing. And for your future updates, please do stay with us. Please do keep checking out Sakshi TV's Immigration Talk Show. And we will keep seeing Miss Prashanthi again on Wednesday. Thank you so much, Ms. Prashanthi, for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Preeti. Take care.
Thank you. Take care.